Conklin and Company with 13 ABC Action News anchor Lee Conklin. First with what's happening behind the headlines. And Take 3, our panel of political analysts.
Morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Conklin and Company. Coming up today on the program, are you ready for the primary, in some cases the special election, making a difference in a child's life? Our viewers did just that this past week with World Wish Day. And while the day is done, the need is not. But first, maybe you're looking to spruce up your home. It is time for spring cleaning. Everybody gets out and starts to reassess, okay, what do I need to do to the house this year? What can I afford to do in terms of improvement? Maybe you're going to get a break in terms of the land bank here in Lucas County. Here to tell us about that and other things, matters of the Lucas County Treasurer's Department is the treasurer himself. You know him. He's been around in these parts for quite a while, a wily veteran now. Wade Kavich, good to see you again,
Good
Wade.
to see you, Lee.
Thanks for coming in.
Glad
we
to be
did
here.
a story on the land bank Tuesday or Wednesday this past week. And it's about homeowners, perhaps lower income, getting a break on their home improvement, or not necessarily.
Well, the land bank has a number of different programs, all of which are dedicated toward stopping the erosion of property values that we have seen throughout our neighborhoods, unfortunately, really since the Great Recession, but even longer than that. Property values have gone down. We want to stop that. We want to see people get some value out of their home again. So the land bank has a number of tools. A lot of times what the land bank does is demolish a vacant abandoned home, and unfortunately there's a big need for that in a lot of cases. But that's not all that we do. And one of the reasons I think we're in the news this week is we just launched a program to allow citizens to get low interest loans to improve their home. Maybe they want to put a new roof on their home, maybe they want to weatherize the outside, put new windows, whatever it may be.
So much to do if you own a home, right? We know that. Yeah.
That's right. So they can come to the land bank and apply for a grant. But there's an additional grant program where citizens in targeted neighborhoods can get a $10,000 grant specifically to put a new roof on your home. So the deadline for that is May 9th, so this is a great opportunity to let people know they can call 213-4293, the land bank's number, or visit us at www.lucascountylandbank.com and try to get a part of that application process, because that's a way that citizens can save a little money to improving their home, and what that does is preserves the value of the neighborhood and keeps those values up. So there's a number of things we do. This is the most timely thing we're doing, and we're excited to talk about it.
Blight in our city became a issue in the campaign, Mayor Collins and tidy towns and what have you, trying to improve our neighborhoods. But you mentioned the website for the land bank itself, and that goes to the fact that it has its own entity, its own identity, if you will, and so the land bank is now how many years old?
Land bank, it's about 3.5 years old. We had to, myself and a couple other treasurers around the state of Ohio had to change Ohio law to create this type of land bank, and that law passed in April of 2010. We became the first county in Ohio to form under that new authorization in August of 2010, so about 3.5 years old. And what it is it is a separate entity. It's quasi-governmental. It's not directly a part of county government. It's separate from city government. But what it is a legal entity that can acquire vacant and abandoned tax foreclosed properties automatically. No longer do we have to wait what often can be years to go through a process that ends up at the courthouse where we're having to bid against Australian investors to get our hands on property. No, we can get these properties automatically, quickly, and there is a funding stream. This is what makes this land bank different from the land banks of yesteryears. And land banks have been around since the 70s. This is different because it has a funding stream. It comes through the treasurer's office. That's why the treasurer under state law is the chair of the board. With that funding stream, once we acquire these vacant abandoned properties, we can do good things. Sometimes good thing is demolishing a property if it's too far gone and if that's what the neighborhood needs. In other cases, we work with homeowners where they can acquire a property. Our next guest, in fact, acquired a 107-year-old property in the Old West End, a 22-room home for $20,000.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah,
There's some foreshadowing here.
I am foreshadowing,
but
that's an example of how people can reclaim their neighborhoods, put some money into it. We do side lots, community gardens, green space, and now we're starting these new programs where people can get low interest loans to improve their homes. All of it, we do many different things, but it is all dedicated toward improving neighborhoods and increasing property values. But you're right, it is a separate legal entity that we created out of whole cloth.
What about from a tangible perspective? How many homes have been impacted by this? How many people?
Sure, we have touched about 2,500 properties since August of 2010.
Mainly in the city?
Mainly in the city, but not exclusively. There's a fantastic old farmhouse out in Oregon. It's called Great Gray Gables, built in 1893 or 1895, that we acquired for the Amstutz family, not the old football coach, but a different Amstutz. You know, so we do work in the suburbs as well, all over Lucas County, but primarily in the urban core where the challenges are greatest.
What are the qualifications? Say, I'm going to apply to purchase this home. What are the qualifications?
Well, we will only acquire a property if it is vacant and abandoned and has been foreclosed on for tax reasons. In other words, if there's anyone in that home, we're not going to be a part out of forcing someone out of a home.
Does income come into play at all?
No, absolutely not. The properties we acquire have to be vacant, abandoned, foreclosed, but we won't acquire them unless someone is interested in them. In other words, we don't want to be property speculators. We don't want to turn frankly, into the largest slumlord in Lucas County.
We're only going to acquire. People, I think, we're going.
That's right. No, we're only going to acquire properties if someone wants them. But when they want them, and they can be anyone, income guidelines are not relevant here. We'll turn it into productive use, and it's whatever use that citizen, that church group, that community wants. And so we've touched about 2,500 properties. We do commercial rehabs. We've rehabbed about 100 properties and put them back into use. Our tools work for commercial structures as well as residential. 500 of our properties are simple side lots where maybe you have someone who just wants to acquire that property next door for a larger garden, larger green space. So we do a lot of neat things. And 213-4293 is what you want to call if you want to learn more.
Great program. Great. Really. I mean, tell you're passionate about it. So that's separate from the Treasurer's Office itself.
It is.
Where are we now in tax revenue from a county perspective, a city perspective? 08, 09, the peak of the recession. Where are we now?
Things are much, much better than they were in 2007, 2008, 2009. They are not where we or anyone else want them to be, but things are getting better. All of the metrics that you use to look at the health of an economy, whether it's sales tax, unemployment, spending, auto sales, they were all better in 2013 than they were in 2012. And the early months of 2014 were better than they were in 2013. In fact, the reduction in unemployment is pretty significant. The unemployment rate in Lucas County and Toledo has both decreased by 2 percentage points or more in back-to-back months for the first time in years. And the unemployment rates in Lucas County and Toledo are as low as they've been in February since 2007 in the case of the city, 2008 in terms of the county. So there are a number of factors that suggest we're heading in the right direction. We're not quite where we want to be yet, because even though unemployment is coming down, as you know, unemployment could come down simply because people have given up hope and aren't searching for jobs
that's
anymore.
What we hear all the time.
But at least in February, there's some indication that it's coming down because people are re-entering the workforce. We have 118,000 people working in Toledo, 191,000 working in Lucas County. Those are good numbers, and they represent an increase. So, and in terms of the auto industry, there is auto sales. There has been a steady 5-year increase in people buying automobiles. So there's some good signs, but we're not all the way there yet.
Right, and we'll come out. We came out late this week with the Jeep numbers, Chrysler numbers, and they are through the roof, or at least very, very positive.
But it needs to translate into jobs.
No doubt. Oh, okay, so that's the Treasurer's perspective, tax revenue. It's been a long time since you've been on this program, Wade Kapsakavich, and people think of you as omnipresent, those Democratic news conferences in the background. You're 2 years into this term, right? 2 years in?
2 years into my third term as treasurer.
Your four-year term.
Before I was on city council for about 7 years.
No term limit. Plan to stay keep running for treasurer? Are there other?
I think the land bank has given me something to really build on and grow, and I'm excited to do that, and will continue to do that. I'm not sure what the future holds, other than to say I'm always going to be looking for ways
to serve. But you're always present when we see
the community.
When there's a Democratic cause. We always see you. Is that foreshadowing as well?
No, that only foreshadows that whatever news conference I'm at, I believe in what we're talking about. So, but one day there might come a time where I want to look for ways to serve the community beyond the treasurer's office, and when that day comes, you'll be among the first to know. 2 years
in, though, you got 2 more years left. You're going to still be the Lucas County treasurer.
Sure, and I intend to run for re-election in 2016, and if the voters agree, then I'll continue to serve.
All right, good work with the land bank. Congratulations on that. What's the website? Once again, if people want to get in on that.
www.lucascountylandbank.com.
Okay.
Not very creative, but that's what it is.
And Lucas County Treasurer Wade Kapsakavich, our guest today. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right, we're going to be back in just a minute. Talk with someone actually who has benefited from the land bank, but we're here to talk about Make-A-Wish and what was miles. To make a mile, help us out here. The Mileathon that took place this past week. Back in just a minute. Conklin and Company continues right after this.